He hadn't thought about stillness in decades, not since he was a kid, dragged to church by his mom. But when Donald Trump stumbled across a notebook his teenage son had been reading, written in his mother's faded hand, something shifted. What he finds in those pages and what it stirs in him will linger with you long after the story fades. The Trump Tower penthouse was a fortress of noise, phones buzzing, TVs blaring Fox or CNN, depending on the hour, aides shuffling in and out with updates. Donald Trump thrived in it, always had. The chaos was his fuel, the hum that kept him sharp. But that morning, something was off. The usual clamor felt distant, like it was happening in another room, another life. He stood by the massive windows, hands in his pockets, staring down at Manhattan's jagged skyline. The city glittered under the October sun, a kingdom he'd built brick by brick. Normally, that view pumped him up, proof he'd won. Today, it just looked tired. He hadn't slept much. Lately, the nights dragged, his mind spinning through deals, headlines, what-ifs. Coffee was his lifeline now, and he grabbed the mug off his desk, sipping the bitter black brew. The penthouse was quieter than usual. Melania was out shopping, Barron at some coding camp. He liked the solitude sometimes, rare as it was. Gave him space to think, to plot. But today, the quiet wasn't empty. It carried something, a weight he couldn't pin down. He wandered down the hall, past the framed magazine covers and gold-trimmed mirrors, until he stopped outside Barron's room. The door was cracked open, just enough to catch a sliver of light. He nudged it wider, peering in. Barron wasn't there, but the room was alive with him, laptop glowing on the desk, sneakers kicked off by the bed, a basketball wedged under a chair. Trump stepped inside, a faint smile tugging at his lips. Kid was a genius, quiet, sure, but sharp as hell. Took after him, in a way. Then he heard it. Not a sound, not really, just a feeling, like the air shifted. He turned, eyes landing on the nightstand. A small notebook sat there, leather-bound, edges frayed. Didn't look like Barron's usual tech gear. He picked it up, flipping it open. The handwriting hit him like a punch, his mom's. Mary Trump's neat, slanted script, faded but unmistakable. How'd this get here? He sank onto the bed, the mattress creaking under him, and read the first page. Donald, you're always moving, always pushing. I love that about you. But don't forget to stop sometimes. God's there when you do. Psalm 46 verse 10, be still and know that I am God. For you, when it gets loud. His throat tightened. He hadn't seen her handwriting in years, not since she'd passed, not since he'd boxed up her stuff and moved on. She'd been the steady one, church every Sunday, prayers at dinner, a Bible always close. He'd tuned it out back then, too busy dreaming big. Now, here she was, whispering at him through a notebook he didn't even know existed. Dad? Barron's voice snapped him out of it. The kid stood in the doorway, backpack slung over one shoulder, hair messy from the wind. Trump closed the notebook quick, like he'd been caught. Hey, kid. Thought you were at camp. Got dropped off early, Barron said, stepping in. He dropped his bag, eyeing the notebook. What's that? Trump hesitated, then held it up. Your grandma's. Found it here. You seen it before? Barron nodded, casual as anything. Yeah, was in a box in the closet. I read it sometimes. She wrote cool stuff. That one's yours, though. Says your name. Trump blinked, caught off guard. You read it? What'd she say? Barron shrugged, sitting on the floor by his desk. Lots of things. Prayers, mostly. Said you're tough, but you need quiet sometimes. I figured she knew you pretty well. Trump leaned back, the notebook heavy in his hands. Yeah, she did. Better than I knew myself, maybe. He flipped it open again, skimming her words. Be still. He'd never been still, still was weak, still was losing. But Barron sitting there, calm and unbothered, made him wonder. You ever pray, kid? Barron looked up, surprised. Sometimes. Not like church or anything, just when I'm thinking. Helps me chill. Chill, huh? Trump said, a faint grin breaking through. Who taught you that? Nobody, Barron said, pulling out his phone. Just do it. Grandma's book made me try it. You. Nah, Trump said, honest. Not my thing. Used to think it was a waste. Your grandma dragged me to church anyway. Guess I didn't listen. Barron smirked, tapping his screen. Maybe you should. She thought you'd need it. Trump stared at him, the kid's words landing harder than they should have. Need it. He'd never needed anything built an empire, won the White House, took on the world. But sitting here, with his mom's notebook and Barron's easy faith, he felt a crack in that armor. Yeah, well, she was smart, he muttered, standing. Let's grab some lunch. You pick. Barron hopped up, already scrolling for options. Pizza? Pizza it is, Trump said, tucking the notebook under his arm. They headed out, the penthouse quiet again behind them. But as they rode the elevator down, that note stuck with him, be still. He didn't get it, not yet. His life was loud, always had been. Stillness was foreign, like silence to a storm. They hit the lobby, the city noise rushing in horns, chatter, the pulse of New York. Barron walked ahead, texting while Trump lagged, the notebook pressing into his side. He thought about his mom, her voice at the table, reading verses he'd ignored. She'd seen something in him he hadn't, a restlessness he'd never named. Back at the penthouse later, he set the notebook on his desk, staring at it like it might talk back. Barron was in his room, pizza box empty on the counter. Trump poured another coffee, the bitterness sharp on his tongue. He flipped the notebook open again, reading her words slow. When it gets loud. It was loud, had been for years. Deals, fights, wins, losses. He'd thrived in it, owned it. But now, with her voice in his head and Barron's calm echoing it, he wondered if he'd missed something. He leaned back, the city humming beyond the glass. The notebook stayed there, a quiet challenge he couldn't dodge. He didn't pray, not yet, but for the first time in decades, he felt a pull to listen. To what, he wasn't sure. But it was there, soft and steady, like a whisper he'd forgotten how to hear. The pizza sat heavy in Donald Trump's stomach as he leaned back in the penthouse dining chair, the city skyline sprawling beyond the glass walls. Barron had disappeared to his room, the faint tap of his keyboard drifting down the hall. Trump rubbed his eyes, the afternoon sun slanting through the windows and casting long shadows across the polished floor. The notebook, his mom's notebook, rested on the table where he'd left it, its leather cover catching the light like a silent dare. He'd tried to shake it off during lunch, tossing out jokes about Barron's coding skills and the best pizza joints in New York. But her words kept creeping back, be still and know that I am God. He stood, pacing to the window. The city buzzed below, taxis honking, people hustling, the endless grind he'd always loved. Noise was his domain. He'd built his life on it. Deals closed over shouting matches, campaigns won with roaring crowds. Stillness? That was for other people, losers, dreamers, folks who didn't get the game. Yet here he was, rattled by a kid's shrug and a dead woman's scribbles. He grabbed the notebook again, flipping through it. More of her handwriting spilled across the pages, prayers, little notes, dates from decades ago. One caught his eye, tucked near the middle. Donald, you're so strong, but strength isn't just pushing. It's stopping too. Let God carry it sometimes. Proverbs 3 verse 5, trust in the Lord with all your heart. For my fighter. His chest tightened. Fighter. She'd always called him that, even when he was a kid mouthing off at the dinner table. She'd smile, pat his head, and say he'd figure it out someday. Figure what out? He muttered, setting it down. He paced again, the room feeling smaller than it should have. The penthouse was his castle, gold accents, marble floors, the best view in Manhattan. He'd earned every inch of it. But today, it didn't fit right, like a suit he'd outgrown. He stopped by the desk, staring at the notebook. Barron's words from earlier echoed in his head. She thought you'd need it. Need what? Quiet? Trust? He'd never trusted anything he couldn't see, couldn't control. The elevator dinged, cutting through his thoughts. Melania stepped out, arms full of shopping bags, her heels clicking on the floor. She glanced at him, her sharp eyes catching the tension in his shoulders. "You're still here," she said, setting the bags down. "Thought you'd be off plotting something by now." "Yeah, well, change of plans," Trump said, forcing a grin. He nodded at the notebook. "Found something in Baron's room. Mom's old stuff, notes, prayers. Weird finding it now." Melania walked over, peering at the open page. "Mary's? Huh. She was always writing loved that little book." She traced the ink with a finger, her voice softening. "What's it say?" "Stuff about me," he said, leaning against the desk. "Says I need to stop. Trust God." "Crazy, right?" "Me stopping?" She smirked, crossing her arms. "Not crazy. She knew you. Always running, always fighting. Maybe she figured you'd hit a wall eventually." "A wall?" He snorted, but it didn't have much bite. "I don't hit walls, Melania. I knock M down." "Sure," she said, her tone dry. "But even you get tired, Donald. Don't pretend you don't, I see it. Late nights, pacing around like this." She saw it too. He looked at her, caught off guard. Melania didn't pull punches. She never had, but this felt different, softer. "You think I'm tired?" he asked, narrowing his eyes. "I know you are," she said, stepping closer. "You don't slow down 'cause you don't know how." "That notebook? Maybe it's her way of telling you it's okay to try." He grunted, turning back to the window. "Okay to try what?" "Sitting around, doing nothing?" "That's not me." "Not nothing," she said, her voice steady. "Listening." She was big on that, listening to God, to yourself. "You used to roll your eyes when she'd talk about it." "Yeah. Well, I had bigger things to think about," he said, waving a hand. "Building, winning." She got that. She was proud. She was, Melania agreed, picking up the notebook. But she worried too. Said you'd burn out if you didn't find some quiet. Guess she left this for when you'd listen. Trump stared at her, the words sinking in. Burnout. He'd never burned out. Never let himself. Every loss was a pivot, every fight a chance to come back stronger. But lately, the late nights dragged longer, the wins felt thinner. He rubbed his jaw, glancing at the notebook in her hands. "Baron's been reading it," he said, shifting gears. "Says he prays sometimes, nobody taught him. Just does it." Melania's eyebrows shot up. "Baron? Really?" She smiled, a rare, warm one. "He's got her in him, then." "Quiet but deep." "Deep, huh?" Trump said, a faint grin breaking through. "Kid's too smart for his own good. Told me I should try it, praying, I mean." And she pressed, setting the notebook down. "What did you say?" "Told him it's not my thing," he said, honest. "Never has been. But he's got me wondering, him and this damn book. What's the point if you're not asking for something?" "Maybe it's not about asking," she said, leaning against the desk. "Maybe it's about hearing." She thought you'd get there someday. He didn't answer right away, his eyes drifting back to the skyline. Hearing. He'd spent his life talking, shouting, really, drowning out anything that didn't fit. Now his mom's voice was cutting through, soft but stubborn, and Baron's was right behind it. "Yeah, well, I'm not there yet," he muttered, turning to her. "But it's sticking with me. Can't shake it." "Good," Melania said, her tone firm. "Don't shake it. Let it sit. You're too good at running from stuff like this." He chuckled, rough and low. "You sound like her now, ganging up on me from the grave." She smirked, nudging his arm. "Someone's gotta keep you in line." "Her and Baron, they're a team." "Great," he said, rolling his eyes. "Outnumbered in my own house." He grabbed the notebook, flipping it closed. "Gonna take this to the office. Need to think it over, away from you two conspirators." "Fine," she said, heading for the bags. "But don't bury it under work." She'd hate that. He waved her off, grabbing his coat. The elevator ride down was quiet, the notebook tucked under his arm like a secret he wasn't ready to share. The lobby buzzed as he stepped out, doorman nodding, a few tourists snapping pics. He ignored it, sliding into the waiting car. Mike was behind the wheel, as usual, glancing at him in the mirror. "Office, boss?" Mike asked, starting the engine. "Yeah," Trump said, settling in. Got some thinking to do. Mike raised an eyebrow but didn't push. The car pulled into traffic, the city noise swallowing them up. Trump stared out the window, the notebook warm against his side. Be still. Trust. He didn't get it, not fully, but it was there, nagging at him like a loose thread. His life was loud, always had been. But now, with his mom's words and Barron's calm ringing in his ears, he felt something shift. Not an answer, not yet, just a question he couldn't dodge. And for a guy who'd spent decades outrunning questions, that was a hell of a start. The Trump Tower office smelled like leather and coffee, a mix that usually steadied Donald Trump's nerves. He dropped into his chair, the city sprawling beyond the tinted windows, a gray haze settling over Manhattan as the afternoon faded. The notebook, his mom's, sat on the desk, right next to a stack of contracts and a half-empty mug. He'd brought it here to think, away from the penthouse, away from Melania's knowing looks and Barron's quiet shrugs. But now, staring at it, he wasn't sure what he'd expected to figure out. He leaned back, rubbing his temples. The office was his war room, deals signed, plans hatched, victories framed on the walls. Noise ruled here too, phones ringing, aides buzzing, the constant hum of power. He'd always liked it that way. Silence was for suckers. But that notebook sat there like a glitch in the system, throwing everything off. Be still and know that I am God. He snorted, shaking his head. Still? In this place? Fat chance. He grabbed it, flipping through the pages again. Her handwriting was everywhere, prayers, little thoughts, stuff she'd jotted down years ago. One near the back stopped him cold. Donald, you think you've got it all under control, but you don't. Nobody does. Matthew 11, verse 28, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Let it go, just once. His jaw tightened. Weary, burdened. Those words stung, made him sound weak, worn out. He wasn't that guy. He'd fought tooth and nail for everything, never let it go, never rested. Rest, he muttered, tossing the notebook back on the desk. Yeah, right. He stood, pacing to the window. The city churned below, traffic crawling, lights flickering on. He'd built this view, owned it. Control was his thing, always had been. Let it go? That was surrender, and he didn't surrender. But her voice stuck with him, soft and stubborn, like she was standing right there, telling him he'd missed the point. A knock at the door broke his spiral. Mike poked his head in, holding a takeout bag. Brought you some food, boss, he said, stepping inside. Figured you'd skip lunch again. Trump waved him in, sinking back into the chair. Good call. What's it this time? Burger, Mike said, setting the bag down. He glanced at the notebook, then at Trump. You okay? Look like you're wrestling something. Yeah, well, maybe I am, Trump said, pulling the burger out. He took a bite, chewing slow. That damn book, Mom's. Keeps popping up, messing with me. Mike leaned against the desk, arms crossed. Messing how? Thought you said it was just old notes. It is, Trump said, swallowing. But it's more than that. She wrote stuff, prayers, verses. Says I need to stop, rest, trust God. Crazy stuff for a guy like me. Mike raised an eyebrow, smirking. Trust God? That's new. You don't even trust the weather guy. Exactly, Trump said, pointing at him. I trust what I can see, deals, numbers, wins. This? It's all air. But Barron's into it, says he prays, got it from her. Now I'm sitting here, wondering if I've been wrong. Wrong about what? Mike asked, grabbing a chair and sitting. You've got more than most people dream of. What's to doubt? Trump leaned forward, tapping the notebook. That's the thing, she didn't care about all this. Towers, money, power. She was proud, sure, but she kept saying there's more. Rest, quiet, letting go. I never got it. Thought it was soft. Mike nodded, thoughtful. My old man was like that, big on church, always telling me to slow down. Didn't listen till he was gone. Hits different when you find their words later. Yeah, Trump said, staring at the page. Hits hard. She says I'm weary. like I'm some old guy falling apart. I'm not, right? Mike grinned, shaking his head. Nah, you're still kicking. But weary's not about falling apart. It's about carrying too much. You've been hauling a lot for a long time. Trump grunted, taking another bite. Maybe. Never thought about it like that. Always figured you keep going, no matter what. She saw it different. Thought I'd burn out if I didn't stop. Burn out? Mike said, leaning back. You? Nah, but even the toughest guys need a break. My sister's a nurse, says people crash when they don't see it coming. Maybe your mom was onto something. Onto something, Trump echoed, setting the burger down. He flipped the notebook open again, reading the verse. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened. She wrote this for me, like she knew I'd hit a wall. Barron's got her book, praying like it's no big deal. Makes me wonder what I missed. Mike shrugged, grabbing a fry from the bag. Kids see stuff we don't. My nephew's the same. Asks big questions, keeps it simple. Maybe Barron's picking up where she left off. Trump looked at him, the idea sinking in. Picking up where she left off. His mom's faith, Barron's quiet, it was like a thread he'd never pulled. Yeah, maybe, he said, leaning back. But what do I do with it? I don't pray, don't sit still. This isn't me. Yet, Mike said, smirking. Doesn't mean it can't be. You're here reading it, talking about it. That's something. Something, Trump muttered, staring at the notebook. Feels like a lot of nothing. She's telling me to let go controls my whole deal. Without it, what am I? Mike didn't answer right away, letting the question hang. Dunno, boss, he said finally. But you've got people who'd stick around either way, Melania. Barron me. Maybe that's what she meant. Let them carry some of it. Trump raised an eyebrow, surprised. You getting soft on me, Mike? Nah, Mike said, standing. Just saying what I see. You're not alone in this, notebook or not. He grabbed his coffee. Gonna check the car. Holler if you need me. Will do, Trump said, watching him go. The door clicked shut, leaving him with the burger, the notebook, and the hum of the office. He picked it up again, tracing her words with his thumb. Let it go, just once. He'd never let go, not of a deal, not of a fight. Control was his edge, his shield. But Mike's words stuck. Melania, Barron, people who'd stick around. Maybe that's what she'd meant, not losing, but sharing the load. He stood, pacing to the window again. The city was darker now, lights popping on like stars in the haze. He thought about Barron praying without a rule book, just doing it. Thought about his mom, scribbling these notes like she knew he'd need them. Weary. He didn't feel it, not the way she wrote it, but there was something, a heaviness he'd ignored too long. The phone on his desk buzzed, Lila, probably with some update. He let it ring, his eyes on the notebook. Doubt crept in, not loud like his usual fights, but quiet, nagging. What if she was right? What if he'd been running so hard he'd missed the point? He didn't have answers, not yet, but the question was there, steady and unshakable. And for a guy who'd built a life on certainty, that doubt was louder than any crowd he'd ever faced. The office lights buzzed faintly as Donald Trump sank back into his chair, the city's glow seeping through the windows like a muted spotlight. The notebook, his mom's, sat open on the desk, her words staring up at him. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. He'd read it a dozen times now, each pass digging deeper, like a splinter he couldn't pull out. The burger Mike brought was cold, the fries stiff on the wrapper. He didn't care. Food was the last thing on his mind. He rubbed his eyes, the day's weight pressing into his shoulders. The office was quiet now, the usual chaos dialed down to a hum. Aides had cleared out, phones gone silent. Normally, he'd fill the void, call someone, check numbers, keep the machine running. Tonight, he just sat there, the notebook pulling him in like a magnet. Let it go, just once. He snorted, shaking his head. Let it go? He'd built an empire by holding on, every deal, every fight, every inch. Letting go was for quitters. But her voice wouldn't quit. It was there, soft and steady, weaving through the noise he'd lived in for decades. He flipped back to the first page, be still, and know that I am God. Baron's calm flashed in his head, the kid praying like it was nothing, no big deal. Then Melania, telling him it was okay to stop. Now Mike, saying he wasn't alone. It was like they were all in on it, chipping away at the wall he'd built around himself. He stood, pacing to the window again. The city stretched out, a sea of lights blinking in the dusk. He'd always loved this view, proof he'd made it, bigger than anyone. But tonight it felt distant, like it belonged to someone else. He pressed a hand against the glass, the cold biting into his palm. "What's this about, Mom?" he muttered, his breath fogging the pain. "You want me to just... what? Sit here and wait." The phone buzzed again, Lila, probably with some crisis. He ignored it, turning back to the desk. He grabbed the notebook, flipping through it fast, like he could outrun her words. Another note caught his eye, scribbled near the end. "Donald, you're my lion, but even lions rest." Psalm 23, "He makes me lie down in green pastures." You don't have to fight every day. His chest tightened. Lion. She'd called him that when he was a kid, proud, fierce, always charging. He'd liked it, lived up to it. But rest? That wasn't in the playbook. He sank back into the chair, the leather creaking under him. The words sank in, heavy and warm, like a blanket he didn't want but couldn't shake off. He makes me lie down. He pictured it. Green fields, quiet, no phones, no fights. Sounded nice, maybe, for someone else. Not him. He thrived on the grind, always had. But lately, the grind felt different, like it was grinding him down instead. A soft knock pulled him out of it. The door cracked open, and Lila stepped in, her tablet tucked under her arm. "Hey, sir," she said, hesitating. "Saw the light on. You okay?" "Yeah, fine," Trump said, waving her in. "Just thinking, what's up?" She stepped closer, setting the tablet down. "Nothing urgent. Some calls I can handle tomorrow. You didn't answer earlier, so I figured I'd check. You look off." "Off?" He smirked, leaning back. "That's one way to put it. This thing," he tapped the notebook, "Mom's. Found it in Baron's room. Keeps hitting me with stuff I don't get." Lila glanced at it, her sharp eyes softening. "Her prayers? That's heavy. What's it saying?" "Too much," he said, flipping it open. "Says I'm weary, need rest, should let go." Crazy, right? Me letting go. She nodded, sitting on the edge of a chair. Not crazy. Sounds like her, always had that quiet strength. My grandma was the same, left me notes too. Took me years to read M. "Yeah?" Trump said, looking at her. "What did yours say?" "Stuff about slowing down, trusting life," Lila said, shrugging. "Didn't get it till I crashed, worked myself sick a few years back." She knew I'd pushed too hard. Trump raised an eyebrow, surprised. "You? Crashing? Thought you were bulletproof." "Thought so too," she said, smirking. "Turns out I'm human. Maybe you are too." He chuckled, rough and low. "Don't tell anybody. But yeah, she says I'm carrying too much. Baron's praying, Melania's on me about it. Feels like they're ganging up." "Maybe they're right," Lila said, her tone steady. "You've been hauling a lot, decades of it. Ever think about dropping some?" "Dropping?" He snorted, tapping the desk. "This is me control winning. Drop that, and what's left?" "You," she said simply. "The guy under all this." She saw him, Baron does too. "Maybe it's time you did." He stared at her, the words cutting deeper than he expected. The guy under it. He'd buried that guy, pushed him down with every deal, every headline. Control was his armor. Without it, he'd be naked. But Lila's calm, Mike's nudge, Melania's push, they were peeling it back, layer by layer. "Easy for you to say," he muttered, flipping the notebook closed. "I don't even know how to start. Rest, trust, sounds like a vacation I'd hate." "Doesn't have to be big," Lila said, standing. "Just a crack, let something in." "She left you that for a reason." She grabbed her tablet. "Need anything before I go?" "Nah," he said, waving her off. "Get some rest yourself. Don't crash again." She smirked, heading out. "Night, sir." The door clicked shut, leaving him alone again. He picked up the notebook, running his thumb over the cover. He makes me lie down. He didn't want to lie down, didn't know how. But the weight was there, pressing on him, heavier than he'd admit. He stood, pacing back to the window. The city was darker now, a quiet settling over the streets. He thought about Baron, praying like it was breathing, no rules, no fuss. Thought about his mom, scribbling these notes like a lifeline. Weary, burdened. He didn't feel it, not the way people thought, but there was something, a drag he'd ignored too long. He sank back into the chair, the notebook in his lap. The office hummed around him, softer now, like it was waiting. He didn't pray, not yet, but he sat there, still for once, letting her words sink in. Let it go, just once. He didn't know what it was: control, pride, the fight. But for the first time, he wondered if he could. Not all at once, not even close, just a crack, like Lila said. The phone buzzed again, Melania this time. He picked it up, thumb hovering. Hey, he answered, his voice rough. Donald, you coming home? She asked, her tone sharp but warm. It's late. Yeah, he said, glancing at the notebook. On my way. Got some stuff to tell you. Good, she said, a smile in her voice. Drive safe. He hung up, tucking the notebook under his arm. The office felt different as he left, quieter, lighter, like it had exhaled. He didn't have it figured out, not by a long shot, but the weight wasn't just his anymore. It was hers, Baron's, Melania's too. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough to start. The elevator hummed as Donald Trump rode it down from the office, the notebook tucked under his arm like a stubborn passenger he couldn't ditch. The lobby was quiet when he stepped out, just the night guard nodding from his post, the faint echo of his shoes on the marble floor. Outside, the Manhattan air hit him, cool and sharp, carrying the familiar mix of exhaust and ambition. Mike was waiting by the SUV, leaning against the hood with a coffee in hand, the streetlights glinting off the black paint. Ready, boss? Mike asked, opening the door. His voice was casual, but his eyes flicked to the notebook, catching the shift in Trump's grip. Yeah, Trump said, sliding into the back. Home. Been a long one. Mike nodded, climbing in and starting the engine. The car pulled into traffic, the city's pulse thumping around them, horns blaring, neon signs flashing. Trump leaned his head against the window, the glass cold against his temple. The notebook rested on his lap, its weight sinking into him, heavier than it should have been. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened. He'd read it again before leaving the office, Lila's words still ringing. Let something in. He wasn't sure what that meant. Not yet, but it stuck. You're quiet tonight, Mike said, glancing at him in the rear view. That book's still chewing you up? Trump grunted, shifting in his seat. Yeah, something like that. Mom's got me thinking too much, maybe. Keeps saying I'm weary, need rest. Crazy stuff. Crazy? Mike smirked, easing through a light. Sounds smart to me. You've been running full throttle forever. Even cars need a pit stop. Pit stop, Trump echoed, a faint grin tugging at his lips. I don't do pit stops, Mike. You know that. Keep moving, keep winning. That's the deal. Sure, Mike said, shrugging. But even winners gotta refuel. My old man used to say that, worked himself to death proving it wrong. Maybe your mom's trying to save you the same trip. Trump looked at him, surprised. Your dad? Didn't know that. Yeah, Mike said, his voice dropping. Dropped dead at 55, heart gave out. Always said he'd rest later. Later never came. He glanced back. You're tougher than he was, but still, nobody's invincible. Trump didn't answer right away, his eyes drifting to the notebook. Invincible. He'd always thought he had to be. Built an empire, took on the world, never blinked. But Mike's story hit, quiet and hard, like a stone in his gut. She'd say the same, he muttered, tapping the cover. Kept telling me to stop, let go. Thought it was weak, still do, kinda. Weak? Mike said, turning onto the highway. Nah, takes guts to stop, face what's underneath. Most guys just keep running till they can't. Trump leaned back, the city lights blurring past. Underneath, he'd never looked there, too busy stacking wins, dodging losses. But now, with his mom's words and Barron's calm and Melania's nudge, it felt like the underneath was pushing up, whether he liked it or not. Maybe, he said, half to himself. She wrote I'm a lion, says even lions rest. Funny, right? Mike chuckled, low and rough. Fits you. King of the jungle, roaring all the time. But yeah, even lions crash, sprawl out in the shade. Let the pride handle it. You've got a pride, boss. A pride, Trump said, smirking. Melania'd love that. Barron too, kids praying like it's nothing, got it from her. Good for him, Mike said, nodding. Kids keep it simple, don't overthink it. Maybe that's what she wanted you to see. Trump flipped the notebook open, skimming the page. He makes me lie down in green pastures. Simple. Barron didn't need a manual, just did it like breathing. He'd never been simple. Everything was a fight, a win, a move. But sitting here, the car humming steady, he wondered what it'd feel like, just once, to not fight. The highway stretched out, the city fading into darker patches of trees and road. Mike turned the radio low, some old rock tune crackling through. Trump stared at the notebook, her handwriting glowing under the dim interior light. Let it go, just once. He'd told Lila he didn't know how, still didn't. But the idea was there, nagging, like a door he'd never opened. You ever pray, Mike? He asked, breaking the quiet. His voice was rough, like he wasn't sure he wanted the answer. Mike glanced back, surprised. Me? Sometimes. Not big on it, just when stuff gets heavy. Helps me sleep, I guess. You? Nah, Trump said, honest. Never got it. Mom tried, dragged me to church, read the stuff. Thought it was a waste. Now I'm sitting here, holding it like it's gold. Maybe it is, Mike said, easing off the gas as they hit a curve. Not the book, the quiet. She's giving you something you didn't know you needed. Trump didn't respond, his thumb tracing the ink. Needed. He'd never needed anything, or so he'd thought. Built his life on that, brick by brick. But the cracks were showing late nights, that drag in his chest, the way Barron's calm threw him off. Yeah, well, he muttered, jury's still out. Mike smirked, pulling into Bedminster's gates. Fair enough. You'll figure it out, you always do. The car rolled up the drive, the house glowing soft against the night. Trump grabbed the notebook, stepping out as Mike killed the engine. Thanks for the ride, he said, pausing by the door. And the pep talk. Didn't know you had it in you. Anytime, boss, Mike said, grinning. Get some sleep, you look like hell. Trump chuckled, waving him off. Yeah. Night. The car pulled away, taillights fading into the dark. He stood there a minute, the cool air brushing his face, the notebook warm in his hand. The house loomed ahead, white brick, quiet, a world away from the tower. He pushed the door open, the smell of dinner hitting him, something roasted, maybe chicken. Melania's voice floated from the kitchen, talking to someone Barron, probably. Trump set the notebook on the hall table, kicking off his shoes. He didn't feel lighter, not exactly, but the weight was different, shared somehow. Donald? Melania called, poking her head out. You're late. Everything okay? Yeah, he said, walking toward her. Just thinking. Got stuff to tell you. Mom's book, Barron, all of it. She raised an eyebrow, smiling faintly. Good. Sit, food's ready. You can talk while we eat. He nodded, following her in. Barron was at the counter, headphones around his neck, scrolling his phone. Hey, Dad, he said, glancing up. You look beat. Long day, Trump said, ruffling his hair. You praying again? Barron smirked, shrugging. Maybe. You. Not yet, Trump said, sitting down. But I'm listening, kinda. Melania slid a plate in front of him, her eyes warm. That's a start, she said, sitting across. Now eat, then talk. He dug in, the notebook's weight still there, but softer now, like it had settled into him. The kitchen hummed family, food, quiet, and for once, he didn't fight it. Not all the way, at least. The kitchen in Bedminster glowed warm under the soft lights, the smell of roasted chicken and potatoes filling the air. Donald Trump sat at the table, fork in hand, the notebook resting on the counter behind him like a quiet guest. Melania was across from him, sipping a glass of water, her sharp eyes watching him dig into the food. Barron slouched next to her, picking at his plate, his phone glowing beside him. The clink of silverware and the faint hum of the fridge were the only sounds for a minute, a stillness Trump wasn't used to but didn't hate. Not tonight. Good chicken, he said, breaking the quiet. He took another bite, the warmth settling into him. You cook this? Melania smirked, setting her glass down. No, Rosa did. I just told her what to make. You're welcome. Smart move, he said, grinning. Rosa's the real MVP. He glanced at Barron, who was scrolling with one hand, eating with the other. Hey, could you put that thing down? Talk to your old man. Barron looked up, smirking back. Fine. He slid the phone aside, leaning on his elbow. What's up? You've been weird since you found Grandma's book. Trump raised an eyebrow, caught off guard. Weird? I'm not weird. Just thinking. That book's got stuff in it. Stuff about me. Keeps hitting me. Melania leaned forward, resting her chin on her hand. You said that already. What stuff? You've been carrying it around like it's glued to you. He set his fork down, wiping his mouth with a napkin. Yeah, well, it's her mom. Wrote prayers, notes, verses. Says I'm weary, need to rest, let go. Even called me a lion, says lions rest too. Crazy, right? Not crazy, Melania said, her tone soft but firm. She knew you, better than you know you, maybe. Always said you'd run yourself ragged if you didn't stop. Ragged? Trump snorted, leaning back. I'm not ragged. I'm fine, better than fine. Built everything we've got. She was proud of that. She was, Melania agreed, nodding. But she worried too. Told me once you'd fight, till you dropped if nobody made you slow down. That book's her making you. Trump grunted, glancing at the notebook. Yeah, well, she's loud for someone who's not here. Barron's into it too, says he prays, got it from her. What's that about, kid? Barron shrugged, poking at a potato. Dunno. Just do it sometimes, helps me think. Her book's cool, lots of stuff about you. She thought you'd listen someday. Listen, Trump said, smirking. To what? I don't hear anything, been too busy winning. She dragged me to church, sure, but I tuned it out. Maybe that's why she wrote it, Barron said, looking up. So you'd hear it later. Like now. Trump stared at him, the kid's words landing quiet but solid. Later. He'd never thought about later, not like this. Life was now deals, power, the next move. But Barron's calm, Melania's nudge, his mom's notes, they were pulling him somewhere else, somewhere slower. You're too smart, you know that? He said, ruffling Barron's hair. Gonna outthink me soon. Already do, Barron said, grinning, then grabbed his phone again. Can I go now? Done eating. Yeah, go, Trump said, waving him off. Don't stay up too late, school tomorrow. Barron nodded, disappearing down the hall, the faint thud of his steps fading out. Trump turned back to Melania, who was watching him with that look, half smile, half challenge. What? He said, narrowing his eyes. You're different, she said, leaning back. Not all the way, just a little. That book's getting to you. Different? He snorted, picking up his fork again. I'm the same guy, Donald Trump, winner. Just got some noise in my head, that's all. Noise, she said, raising an eyebrow. Sounds more like quiet. You're not fighting it as hard as you usually do. He paused, mid-bite, her words sinking in. Fighting. He'd fought everything, always had. Critics, deals, even his own doubts. But this, the notebook, the stillness, it wasn't a fight he could win with noise. Maybe, he muttered, setting the fork down. She keeps saying let go, rest, trust. Mike said the same, Lila too. Feels like a damn conspiracy. Melania laughed, soft and real. Not a conspiracy, just people who know you. She left you that for a reason, Donald. Baron's praying. I'm telling you to listen. Maybe it's time. Time for what? He asked, leaning forward. I don't even know what I'm letting go of control. The grind? That's me. Without it, what's left? You, she said, her voice steady. The guy I married, not the headlines, not the towers. She saw him, Baron does too. You're enough without all that. He looked at her, the words hitting deeper than he expected. Enough. He'd never been enough, not without the winds, the power. But Melania's eyes were warm, sure, like she meant it. You're getting soft, he said, smirking. Sound like her now. Good, she said, standing to clear the plates. She was smart, smarter than you sometimes. Keep that book close, it's working. He chuckled, rough and low, grabbing the notebook as she moved to the sink. Yeah, well, jury's still out. But it's sticking, can't shake it. Don't, she called over her shoulder. Let it stick. You're too good at running. He leaned back, flipping the notebook open again. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He pictured it. Fields, quiet, no chaos. Sounded nice, maybe, but foreign. His life was concrete and steel, not grass and sky. Still, Baron's praying, Melania's words, his mom's voice, they were weaving something, pulling him toward it. He stood, stretching, the day's weight settling into his bones. Gonna check on the kid, he said, heading down the hall. Baron's door was cracked, the soft glow of his laptop spilling out. Trump nudged it open, peering in. The kid was sprawled on the bed, headphones on, tapping away at some game. Hey, Trump said, stepping in. Thought I said no staying up. Baron pulled the headphones off, grinning. Just finishing this level. You okay? You're still weird. Weird again, huh? Trump said, sitting on the edge of the bed. Yeah, maybe. That book, Grandma's, it's got me thinking. You really pray like she says? Yeah, Baron said, shrugging. Not big stuff, just thanks, sometimes for you and Mom. Helps me sleep. Trump nodded, surprised by how easy it sounded. Thanks, huh? What for? Stuff, Baron said, vague. You being here, I guess. Grandma said you're tough, thought you'd like it if I did. She did, huh? Trump said, his voice softening. She was right about you, smart kid. Guess I'm listening a little, don't tell anybody. Baron smirked. Secret's safe. Night, Dad. Night, Trump said, standing. He left the room, the notebook still in hand, Baron's words lingering. Thanks. Simple, quiet, like his mom's prayers. He didn't get it, not all the way, but it was there, tugging at him. Back in the kitchen, Melania was wiping the counter, the house settling into a hush. He set the notebook down, watching her. He's praying for us, he said, leaning against the doorway. Kid's got her in him. Told you, she said, smiling. You're next. Not yet, he said, grinning back. But I'm not running much. She laughed, tossing the towel aside. Good enough. Come to bed, you look beat. He followed her, the notebook staying behind, its weight lighter now, shared with the two people who mattered most. The quiet wasn't his yet, but it was closer than it had ever been. The Bedminster house woke slow under a pale October dawn, the sky streaked with gray and gold. Donald Trump stood at the bedroom window, coffee mug in hand, watching the trees sway in the early breeze. He'd slept better than he expected, deep, dreamless, the kind of rest that sneaks up on you. The notebook sat on the nightstand now, its leather cover catching the soft light, a quiet reminder he couldn't dodge. Melania was still asleep, her breathing steady under the covers, and Baron was probably out cold too. For once, the silence didn't itch at him. It just was. He sipped the coffee, bitter and hot, letting it jolt him awake. Yesterday had been a lot, finding that book, Baron's calm, Melania's words, the ride home with Mike. It all swirled in his head, not loud like usual, but steady, like a drumbeat he couldn't shake. Be still. Let it go. He'd spent decades running deals, campaigns, fights, never stopping, never looking back. Now his mom's voice was pulling him the other way, and he didn't know what to do with it. He padded downstairs, the hardwood cool under his bare feet. The kitchen was empty, the dishes from last night stacked neat in the sink. He set the mug down, glancing at the notebook. He'd brought it with him without thinking. Have it now, maybe. He flipped it open, skimming her words again. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He snorted, shaking his head. Green pastures? He lived in towers and boardrooms, not fields. But the image stuck, quiet, simple, a place to breathe. The back door creaked open, and Mike stepped in, jacket slung over his shoulder, a faint grin on his face. Morning, boss, he said, shutting it behind him. Figured I'd swing by early, check the car, see if you're still in one piece. Trump smirked, leaning against the counter. I'm fine, wise guy. Coffee's on, help yourself. Mike grabbed a mug, pouring from the pot. You look better than last night. That book finally let you sleep. Yeah, maybe, Trump said, tapping the notebook. Keeps hitting me, mom's stuff. Barron's praying, Melania's on me about it. Feels like they're all in cahoots. Mike chuckled, sipping his coffee. Cahoots, huh? Sounds like a good team. What's it saying today? Same old, Trump said, flipping it open. Rest, trust, let go. Called me a lion again, says even lions crash. Crazy, right? Not crazy, Mike said, leaning back. Fits you, king of the hill, roaring all the time. But yeah, even kings take a break. You thinking about it? Trump grunted, staring at the page. Thinking's all I've been doing. Never stopped, built everything that way. She says I'm weary, burdened. Don't feel it, but he trailed off, shrugging. Maybe she's onto something. She usually was, Mike said, nodding. My mom was like that, saw stuff I didn't till it was too late. You've got a head start. She left you the manual. Manual, Trump said, smirking. Yeah, right. More like a puzzle, keeps telling me to let go, but I don't know what. Control? The fight? That's me. Mike set his mug down, crossing his arms. Maybe it's not all of it, just some. You've been hauling a lot, decades of it. Ever think about passing the baton a little? Passing? Trump raised an eyebrow, surprised. To who? I don't pass, keep it tight, keep it mine. Sure, Mike said, grinning. But you've got Melania, Baron Hell, even me. We're not going anywhere. Maybe she meant let us carry some. Trump looked at him, the idea sinking in. Carry some. He'd never let anyone carry anything, always held the reins, always called the shots. But Mike's steady grin, Melania's warm nudge, Baron's quiet, they were there, solid. You're getting deep, he said, smirking. What's next, poetry? Nah, Mike said, laughing. Just saying what I see. You're not alone in this, book or not. Yeah, Trump muttered, flipping the notebook closed. Starting to get that. Baron's praying for us, kid's got her in him. Melania says I'm next. Good, Mike said, standing. He's a smart one, takes after her. You should try it. Might surprise you. Pray? Trump snorted, shaking his head. Not there yet. Don't even know what I'd say. Hey, God, fix my schedule. Mike grinned, grabbing his jacket. Start with thanks, works for me. Gotta run, kids got soccer. See you later. Tell him to score one for me, Trump said, waving him off. The door thudded shut, leaving him alone again. He picked up the notebook, running his thumb over the cover. Thanks. Baron had said that, thanking God for him, for Melania. Simple, quiet, like his mom's prayers. He wandered to the living room, sinking into the couch. The house was still, the early light spilling through the windows. He flipped the notebook open again, landing on a new page. Donald, you're my strength, but strength bends too. Isaiah 40 verse 31. Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. Wait for it. His chest tightened. Wait. He'd never waited, pushed, fought, took. Waiting was losing, stalling. But her words were warm, steady, like she knew he'd fight them. Footsteps padded down the stairs, Baron, hair messy, still in pajamas. Morning, he mumbled, flopping onto the couch next to him. You're up early. Yeah, Trump said, setting the notebook down. Couldn't sleep in. You. Same. Barron said, yawning. Dreamed about coding weird stuff. You okay? Still got that book. Trump smirked, nodding. Yeah, kid. Keeps talking, says I need to wait, hope. Crazy, right? Not crazy, Barron said, shrugging. She's smart. Knew you'd get it eventually. You gonna pray yet? Not yet, Trump said, honest. Still figuring it. You still doing it? Yeah, Barron said, casual. Last night, thanked God for you being around. Helps me chill. Trump looked at him, surprised. For me? Huh, guess I should say thanks back. You could, Barron said, grinning. She'd like that. He grabbed the remote, flipping on the TV, some cartoon flickering to life. Trump leaned back, the notebook beside him. Thanks. Simple, small, but it hit. He'd never thanked anyone, not like that. Always took, built, won. But Barron's calm, his mom's words, they were shifting something, cracking the armor he'd worn too long. Melania came down a minute later, hair pulled back, robe tied loose. You two up already? She said, heading for the coffee pot. What's going on? Just talking, Trump said, watching her pour. Kids praying for me, Mom's still at it too. Feels like a setup. She smiled, leaning against the counter. Good setup. You're listening more than yesterday. Maybe, he said, smirking. Don't get used to it. Still me, Donald Trump, winner. Winner who's learning, she said, sipping her coffee. Keep that book, it's doing something. He didn't argue, the notebook staying close. The TV buzzed. Barron laughed at something dumb, and Melania's quiet filled the room. The weight was still their control, the grind, but it wasn't all his anymore. It was theirs too, and for the first time, that didn't scare him. Not much, anyway. The Bedminster living room hummed with a lazy Sunday vibe, the late morning sun spilling through the windows and warming the hardwood floor. Donald Trump sprawled on the couch, the notebook resting on the coffee table beside a half-empty mug. Barron was cross-legged on the rug, laptop open, tapping away at some coding project, his headphones blasting faint beats. Melania sat in the armchair, flipping through a magazine, her coffee steaming on the side table. The house felt alive, but soft, none of the usual rush, just a quiet rhythm Trump wasn't used to but didn't mind. He leaned back, stretching his arms, the notebook's leather cover catching his eye. It had been a week since he'd found it in Barron's room, and it still stuck with him. Be still, let it go rest. He'd carried it everywhere, office, car, home, like it was part of him now. The words weren't loud anymore, not like the first day. They'd settled, sinking into him slow and steady, like rain into dry ground. He didn't get it all, not yet, but he wasn't fighting it as hard either. Dad, Barron said, pulling off his headphones. You gonna stare at that book all day, or what? Trump smirked, glancing at him. Maybe. Keeps talking, your grandma's got a lot to say. You still reading it? Yeah, Barron said, shrugging. Sometimes. Found a new one yesterday, says you're stubborn but good. Made me laugh. Stubborn, huh? Trump said, grinning. She nailed that. What's the good part? Dunno, Barron said, tapping his laptop. Just says you've got heart, hides under all the tough stuff. She prayed you'd find it. Trump raised an eyebrow, surprised. Heart. He'd never thought about that. Tough was his game, always had been. But his mom's words, Barron's calm, they were digging up something he'd buried deep. Yeah, well, he muttered. She was smart. Too smart sometimes. Melania looked up from her magazine, smirking. She knew you, better than you know you. That book's proving it. Proving what? Trump said, leaning forward. That I'm a lion who needs a nap? She's got me pegged. Keeps saying rest, trust, wait. Feels like a broken record. Not broken, Melania said, setting the magazine down. Just loud, till you hear it. You're different since you found it. Quieter, maybe. Quieter. He snorted, waving a hand. I'm still me, Donald Trump, loud and proud. Just thinking more, that's all. Thinking's good, she said, her tone warm. You're not running from it. Big change. She'd be proud. He didn't answer right away, her words settling in. proud. His mom had always been proud. Every deal, every win, but she'd wanted more, something deeper. He grabbed the notebook, flipping it open. A new page caught his eye. Donald, you're my rock, but rocks crack too. Matthew 6 verse 34, do not worry about tomorrow. Let it be. His chest tightened. Worry. He'd never called it that, planning, fighting, staying ahead. But maybe she'd seen it, the weight he'd carried without naming. Barron glanced over, curious. What's that one say? Says I worry too much, Trump said, smirking. Crazy, right? Me, worrying? I don't worry, I win. Yeah, sure, Barron said, grinning. You pace a lot, looks like worrying to me. Grandma got you. Trump laughed, rough and real. Outsmarted by a kid and a ghost. Great. He set the notebook down, leaning back. She says let it be, don't stress tomorrow. Easy for her to say. Not easy, Melania said, standing to refill her coffee. Smart. You've been chasing tomorrow forever. Maybe she wants you here now. Here now, Trump echoed, watching her move to the kitchen. Here. He'd never been here, always the next deal, the next fight. But sitting on this couch, Barron tapping away, Melania's quiet steps, it felt like here, and it wasn't bad. The doorbell rang, sharp and sudden, cutting through the calm. Melania peeked out the window, frowning. It's Lila, she said, heading for the door. Wonder what's up? Lila, Trump said, sitting up. On a Sunday? Better be good. Melania let her in, and Lila stepped into the living room, her tablet under her arm, hair pulled back tight. Hey, sir, she said, nodding at him. Sorry to crash your weekend. Got something you'll want to see. Better be worth it, Trump said, waving her over. What's going on? She sat on the edge of the couch, pulling up a screen on her tablet. That Queen's thing, the porch, your mom's Bible? It's still rippling. People are talking big time. Found this clip online, some old interview with her, 90s maybe. Went viral yesterday. Trump blinked, caught off guard. Mom? Viral? What's she saying? Lila tapped the screen, a grainy video loading up. His mom's face flickered on, younger, blonde, her smile warm and steady. She was in a church, talking to someone off camera. Donald's a force, she said, her voice soft but firm. Always has been. I pray he finds the quiet, he'll need it someday. God's got a way of slowing us down. The clip froze on her face, calm and sure. Trump sat back, his breath catching. Quiet, he muttered, glancing at the notebook. She's still at it. Yeah, Lila said, setting the tablet down. People love it, comments are wild. Some say it's you now, finding that quiet. Others just like her voice. It's hitting hard. Trump rubbed his jaw, the weight of it sinking in. Didn't expect that, he said, honest. Thought it was just me, now it's out there. That's what happens, Melania said, leaning against the doorway. You let it out, it grows. She's reaching more than you think. Reaching, huh? Trump said, smirking. Feels like she's haunting me, her and this book. Barron's praying, you're on me. Now this. What's next? Maybe nothing, Lila said, shrugging. Maybe just this, people hearing her, seeing you different. You okay with it? He didn't answer right away, his eyes drifting to the notebook. Okay with it. He'd never been okay with losing control, kept everything tight his way. But this, her voice, Barron's calm, the ripple, it wasn't his to hold. Yeah, he said finally. Let it run. She deserves it. Lila nodded, standing. Cool. I'll keep an eye on it, let you know if it blows up more. Enjoy your Sunday. Thanks, Trump said, watching her go. The door clicked shut, and the room settled back into its soft hum. Barron tapped away, Melania flipped her magazine, and Trump leaned back, the notebook close. Viral, Barron said, not looking up. Grandma's famous now. Cool, right? Yeah, Trump said, grinning. Cool. Guess she's still winning her way. Melania smiled, her eyes warm. She always did. You're catching up. He didn't argue, the words sinking in. Do not worry about tomorrow. The ripple was out there, growing, and he didn't fight it. For once, he let it be, let her voice carry, let the quiet spread. It wasn't his yet, not all the way, but it was closer, and that was something new. The Bedminster estate basked in a crisp Monday afternoon, the sun dipping low and casting golden streaks across the lawn. Donald Trump stood on the back patio, hands in his pockets, the breeze tugging at his jacket. The notebook sat on the patio table, its pages fluttering slightly, a quiet anchor he'd carried all week. Inside, Melania was on a call, her voice a faint hum through the glass doors, and Baron was at school, probably coding something brilliant. The stillness out here felt different, open, wide, not boxed in by the city's roar. Trump didn't hate it, and that surprised him. He'd spent the morning dodging calls. Lila had texted about more buzz from his mom's viral clip, some TV folks wanting interviews. He'd told her to hold them off, needing space. That video, her voice, calm and sure, kept playing in his head. I pray he finds the quiet. It was out there now, rippling beyond him, and he didn't know what to make of it. Part of him liked it, her getting heard, people seeing something real. Another part wanted to pull it back, keep it his. The glass door slid open, and Melania stepped out, phone in hand, her sweater catching the light. "You're hiding out here," she said, smirking. Lila called, says it's getting big. "You sure you don't want to jump in?" "Nah," Trump said, turning to her. "Not yet. Let it breathe, Mom's doing fine without me." "What's she got now?" She didn't say much, Melania replied, leaning against the railing. "Just that people love it. Some church group reached out too. Wants you to talk." "Talk?" He raised an eyebrow, surprised. "What, like a preacher?" "Me?" She nodded, smiling faintly. "Something like that. Small place, Jersey, I think. No cameras, just them. Lila's got the details if you want." Trump grunted, glancing at the notebook. "Jersey, huh? What's a church want with me? I'm no saint. Barely get this stuff myself." "Maybe that's why," she said, stepping closer. "You're real, not polished, not pretending. That clip, the book, they see something in you. She'd like it." He didn't answer right away, his eyes drifting to the trees. Real. He'd spent his life being big, loud, bold, winning. Real was new, raw, and it threw him. "Yeah, well," he muttered, "she's pushing me, always did. Keeps saying rest, wait, let it be. Now this." "Good push," Melania said, her tone warm. "You're not fighting it as hard, big step." Maybe they just want to hear that. "Hear what?" he said, turning to her. "That I'm still figuring it? Don't even know what I'd say. Hey, folks, my mom's haunting me." She laughed, soft and real. "Maybe. Or just what's in there." She nodded at the notebook. "What she left you." "It's working. Donald, you're different." "Different," he echoed, smirking. "Still me, Donald Trump, king of the deal. Just quieter, maybe." "Quieter's good," she said, squeezing his arm. "Tell Lila you'll think about it. Might surprise you." He nodded, the idea settling in. A church, small, no fuss. Nothing like the arenas he'd owned, the crowds he'd worked. But it stuck, tugging at him like the notebook's pages. "Yeah, maybe," he said, pulling out his phone. He shot Lila a text. "Church thing, send me the info." "No promises." Melania smiled, heading back inside. "Good call. I'll start dinner. Don't stay out here too long." "Bossing me around now?" he called, grinning. She waved him off, the door sliding shut. He sank into a patio chair, the notebook close, and flipped it open. A new note caught his eye. "Donald, you're my storm, but storms calm too. John 16 verse 33, in me you may have peace. Take it slow." His chest tightened. Peace. He'd never chased that. Power, sure, wins, always. Peace sounded soft, weak. But her words were warm, steady, like she knew he'd scoff. He leaned back, the breeze brushing his face. Peace. Baron's praying, Melania's calm, his mom's voice, they were weaving it, piece by piece. He didn't feel it, not all the way, but it was there, hovering, like a shadow he could step into if he tried. His phone buzzed. Lila, quick as ever. Pastor James, Hope Church, Jersey. Tomorrow night, 7. Simple talk, no press. Let me know. He stared at it, thumb hovering. Tomorrow. No cameras, no spin, just him and some folks who'd heard his mom. It scared him a little, stripped down, nothing to hide behind. But it pulled too, like her voice whispering through the wind. He stood, pacing the patio, the notebook in hand. Take it slow. He'd never gone slow, rushed, fought, won. Slow was losing, stalling. But sitting here, the house quiet behind him, the idea didn't feel like losing. It felt like something else, something he couldn't name yet. The door slid open again, and Barron poked his head out, backpack slung over his shoulder. Hey, Dad, he said, stepping onto the patio. Just got home, school was boring. You okay? Yeah, kid, Trump said, setting the notebook down. Thinking your grandma's still at it. Some church wants me to talk tomorrow. Barron raised an eyebrow, dropping his bag. Talk? Like, about her. Maybe, Trump said, smirking. Her book, the quiet stuff. You think I should? Yeah, Barron said, shrugging. You're good at talking, might be cool. She'd like it. Cool, huh? Trump said, grinning. You're praying for me again, aren't you? Maybe, Barron said, smirking back. Works, right? You're not yelling as much. Trump laughed, rough and real. Smart kid. Guess I'm listening, don't tell anybody. Deal, Barron said, heading inside. Food soon. Yeah, Trump called. Mom's on it. The door shut, and he sank back into the chair, the notebook beside him. Listening. He wasn't there, not all the way, but he was closer, and Barron's grin, Melania's nudge, his mom's words, they were pulling him in. He grabbed his phone, texting Lila back. Tell Em I'll do it. Tomorrow, 7. Keep it simple. He hit send, the decision settling like a stone solid, not heavy. The sun dipped lower, the patio cooling, and he flipped the notebook open again. In me may have peace. He didn't pray, not yet, but he sat there, still for once, letting it sink in. Tomorrow, he'd talk, no script, no wind to chase. Just him, her voice, and a room full of strangers. The breeze picked up, rustling the pages, and for the first time in a long time, Donald Trump didn't fight the quiet. It wasn't his, not fully, but it was there, waiting, and he was ready to see where it led. The Hope Church in Jersey crouched between a diner and a pawn shop, its faded brick glowing under a dim streetlight. Donald Trump stepped out of the SUV, the notebook tucked under his arm, the cool evening air brushing his face. Mike killed the engine behind him, leaning out the window. You sure about this, boss? He asked, grinning. No cameras, no crowd, just you and some church folks? Yeah, Trump said, adjusting his tie. First time for everything. Won't be long, keep the car warm. Mike smirked, nodding. Good luck. Holler if you need me. Trump gave a small salute, turning toward the church. The wooden sign out front read Hope Church, come in, rest a while, scratched but steady. He pushed the door open, stepping into a warm, dim room, wooden pews, a few flickering candles, the faint smell of old books and wax. About 40 people filled the seats, their chatter dying down as he walked in. No gasps, no phone snapping pics, just quiet looks, curious and kind. Pastor James met him at the front, a stocky guy with a gray beard and a worn smile. Mr. Trump, he said, shaking his hand. Didn't think you'd come. Means a lot. Simple folks here, but we've heard your mom. Yeah, well, Trump said, nodding. She's loud these days, keeps pushing me. No cameras, right? None, James said, gesturing to a small pulpit. Just us. You'll talk after the hymn. Say what you want, long or short. No pressure. Trump grunted, taking a seat near the front. The room settled, a soft guitar kicking up a tune he didn't know. Slow, gentle, nothing like the anthems he'd rallied to. He didn't sing, just listened, the notebook warm in his hands. When the music faded, James stepped up, his voice steady. Tonight's about rest, he said, looking out. Not the kind you chase, but the kind that finds you. Our guest knows something about that. Let's hear him. Trump stood, the pew creaking under him, and walked to the pulpit. The wood was scratched, simple, not the sleek podiums he'd owned. He set the notebook down, facing the room. Eyes met his, tired, hopeful, regular folks. "Evening," he said, his voice cutting the hush. "Guess you're wondering why I'm here." "Me too, sometimes." A few chuckles rippled through, loosening him up. He tapped the notebook. "Found this a week ago, my mom's. Full of prayers, notes for me. Been shaking me up ever since. She says I'm weary, need rest, gotta let go. Called me a lion, says even lions crash. Crazy, right?" Heads nodded, a soft murmur spreading. He flipped it open, skimming her words. "This one stuck. In me may have peace. She wrote it like she knew I'd fight it, I have. Built my life on noise deals, wins, fights. Never stopped, never wanted to. Thought it was weak." The room stayed quiet, but he felt them listening, really listening. "I'm no preacher," he went on, his voice softer now. "Barely get this myself. But she's loud, keeps saying trust, wait, be still. My kid, Baron, he prays, got it from her. Simple, no fuss. Makes me wonder what I missed." A woman in the third row smiled, her eyes glistening. Trump kept going, the words spilling easy. "You folks look like you get it, tired, pushing through. That's strength, real strength. Me, I've been stacking trophies, thinking that's it. Now I'm here with this," he tapped the notebook, "and I don't know. Maybe rest isn't losing. Maybe it's just being." He paused, the room still, her voice echoing in his head, "Take it slow." "She's out there now," he said, a faint grin breaking through. "That clip, people hear her, see me different. I didn't plan it, just happened. Guess she's still winning her way." He stepped back, closing the notebook. "That's it. Not here to sell you anything, just sharing what she left me. Thanks for listening." The room went quiet for a beat, then applause rolled out, soft, warm, real. James clapped him on the shoulder, his grin wide. "That was good," he said, low. "You hit M where they live." Trump nodded, stepping down as the service wrapped, a prayer, another hymn. He slipped out the back, the night air cool against his skin. Mike was there, leaning on the car. "How'd it go?" he asked, popping the door. "Fine," Trump said, sliding in. "Said what I had to, they got it. Felt right." Mike grinned, starting the engine. Preacher Trump, worlds upside down. "Shut up," Trump said, laughing rough. "Just me and Mom. She did the heavy lifting." The car pulled away, the church shrinking in the dark. He leaned back, the notebook on his lap, lighter now. Those faces, nodding, listening, stayed with him. He hadn't planned it, hadn't won anything, but it worked. The ride home was quiet, the highway stretching dark and steady. His phone buzzed, "Melania. Done? How was it?" He typed back, "Good. Home soon, talk then." When they rolled into Bedminster, the house glowed soft, welcoming. Melania met him at the door, Baron behind her, gaming controller in hand. "Back already?" she said, smiling. "Spill it? How'd Jersey go?" "Real," Trump said, setting the notebook on the counter. "Small place, good people. Talked about Mom, the quiet. They liked it." Baron looked up, curious. "You mentioned Grandma's prayers?" "Yeah," Trump said, ruffling his hair. "And you, kid who prays. Said it's rubbing off." "Cool," Baron said, shrugging, then turned back to his game. Melania watched him go, then faced Trump, her eyes warm. "You're lighter," she said, stepping close. "Not all the way, just more." "She's proud, Baron too." "Maybe," Trump said, pulling her in. "Feels like I'm getting it slow, but they're not fighting it much." "Good," she said, hugging him tight. "Keep it quiet suits you." He chuckled, the notebook close, the house humming soft, family, warmth, no rush. For once, he didn't push, didn't run. The quiet wasn't his, not fully, but it was here, shared with them, and he let it stay. And as the noise of the world faded behind him, Donald Trump stood still, not with all the answers, but with something better, a willingness to hear. What about you? When was the last time you really stopped, and listened to the quiet? Maybe it's a voice from your past, a kid who sees more than you do, or just a moment you've been running from. Share it with us. What's whispering to you right now?